Hi there, are you a reader? Are you a person who is looking to start reading books? Or have you been a reader before, but for some reason you have slacked off? Today, this video is definitely for you. Stay tuned. Reading is a good thing and can be both for learning purposes or even for entertainment. And when you're starting the habit of reading, it can be really daunting, especially if you consider those big books, those books that have like 1,000+ pages. It can be really demoralizing and it can demotivate you. So there are a couple of things that you can follow if you're starting off, and even as you now continue building the habit and to that level that you desire to get to. Those are the things that we are going to look at in this video. But before that, if you've not subscribed, please make sure to do, so that we can get to 1,000 subscribers, and also turn on your notification bell. Anytime I put a video, you get notified about it, or anything else really on the channel. And the first thing that you want to really think about is picking a topic that excites you. You definitely want to pick something that you love, because imagine buying a book that will only be on your shelf because you don't like it. Pick a topic that excites you. It can be from all manner of topics, maybe finance, maybe you're into cooking, maybe you are into home organizing or decor. There are so many books to read. So you pick a topic that excites you and stick to that. We will see as we proceed how you can advance and get into other interests. But for starters, that's the first thing that I would recommend. And the second thing is starting with a short book. You guys, if you read a big book, when you get into the middle of it, you're always looking, okay, this is for me. I'll always look and see the pages that are remaining. And if that thing is not exciting, it will take me a longer time to finish that book. So I recommend picking a short book. There's this book I read, Who Moved My Cheese? That book is like this. It's so small, but the quantity, or rather, it's packed with a lot of humor and a lot of, the stories are really exciting. So you won't get bored. But imagine you pick a topic that is not really exciting, and then the book is this big. By the time you're getting done, you're like, I'm done with reading, yeah? And remember, we are trying to nurture this habit of reading. So I recommend picking a short book that you can easily get through. And there's nothing as good as reading that last page of a book, yeah? So pick a short book and start with it. The next thing you want to do is schedule a few minutes of reading. I recommend 15, because 15 minutes are enough to get you through a couple of chapters, or rather a couple of pages, depending on the size of the book and how it's organized. So spare a few minutes of the day. And I actually say that it doesn't have to be 15 minutes. For you, it can be 5 minutes, but you make maximum use of those 5 minutes. And you can utilize those commute minutes here and there. You can utilize those moments as you're waiting for a friend. If you are maybe going for a dinner party and the people take longer to come there. Okay, let's say a hangout, because a hangout you'd carry a bigger bag that can carry a book, right? So you pull out your book and you continue reading, and that gets you through a couple of pages, compared to waiting to have like 1 hour of, like one free hour where you can read. So utilize every few minutes that you get to get through your book. The next thing is to pick recommendations, as in ask someone, what book would you recommend? Maybe you have an interest in, let's say, home decor, right? And you don't know where, like there are so many, I'm sure there are so many ranges in that topic, right? So you can ask someone who reads such books, or who is into that kind of thing, if they have read a book before in that topic, and then they can share with you the book they read. So it's really important to ask friends who are good readers and who can recommend specific books to you, because they know whether the book was exciting, they know what to expect, and they can actually motivate you to get through with the book. So pick recommendations. Once these things are sorted, you need to make sure that you're carrying your book, because if you don't carry it, you won't create moments of reading. So have it around, move around with it. And I think it's easier for ladies because we have purses, but for dudes also, don't use that as a reason to not read. Move around with your book and cover a few pages. It's better to read a few pages than wait for a time where you can cover a chapter, because if you read 5 minutes for 5 minutes right now, and then the next time you read a couple of pages, by the time you get to the end of the day, you've covered like five or more pages or a chapter, right? So carry your book whenever you can, so that you can also read as you go. And I think it's also a good escape plan for people who are introverts, or when you get bored in a crowd, you can use it as a good escape for you. So carry your book around. Now, the other thing you want to do is have accountability. You want someone to ask you, how far are you with your reading? Yeah, find someone who is also on that journey, that you can hold each other accountable and encourage one another in that journey. Also, joining a book club is a good way to be accountable, yeah, because you are surrounded by like-minded people who are also reading books, and then you get motivated and you actually level up and seek more adventure in your reading habit. So find accountability. Of course, at this point, you're now growing in your skill. You've learned a few things about what you like, about the kind of like whatever you prefer when it comes to reading. The next thing you want to do then after that is trying different genres, right? Remember when you were starting, you picked topics that excite you. But at this point now, as you've grown more into books, you would want to explore a few more genres, right? So pick different topics, different subjects. And as you're picking those things, I still recommend you starting with recommendations, books that people have recommended, as well as picking short books, so that if that topic is not fun, then you won't think this is a whole book that I've not read. Short books are easy to get through. So pick short books as well. Even when you're exploring different subjects, try first with short books. My last recommendation when it comes to reading is setting targets for yourself, because at this point now you've known what exactly you love, you've known the kind of authors you like, or the writing styles that you love. So you want to set targets. Maybe you can start with a book every 2 months, or a book every quarter of the year, and then you go building up as you grow into your reading habit. Yeah. So those are my recommendations when it comes to reading. But on top of these recommendations, there are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind as a reader. And this is for general readers. It doesn't have to be for someone who is starting. You can pick these habits, or rather these recommendations, at whichever stage of reading you are at. The first one is to buy your own original copy. That way you get to underline your book. There's that freedom that comes when you have your own copy. And then on top of that, you promote someone's business, right? The next thing you want to be on the lookout for is the font styles, or the font sizes of the book, or just how it's written, because there are some that are really, imagine picking a book that is not exciting and then the font is small, you're squinting when you're reading, so it becomes really discouraging. You want to pick a font that is really easy and easy for your eyes to get through. I actually realized there's some fonts that are easy on your eyes, and so you move along very fast. So keep that in mind as well. The other thing is to have bookmarks. We don't want dog ears on our books, right? And we want to preserve them for generations, for friends, for people who might come and borrow them. Don't read too many books at once. I know there are people who read many books, but I recommend reading 2 books at least. If you have to read many books, have 2 books so that you don't mix up your ideas. Also write book summaries whenever you can so that those points stick. And then the last thing I recommend is picking an action point for every book you read, especially the motivational books. For novel-based books, or rather the ones that are more of stories, there is no much action points for that. But for motivational books, you find there are so many things to begin acting on. So pick action points, at least 2 action points per book, so that it doesn't feel like you read the book for the sake of reading. Yeah, those are my recommendations when it comes to reading and books. Let me know which point excited you the most, and let me also know if you are a reader. Engage me in the comment section. And please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and give this video a thumbs up, and see you in the next one. Bye.